Welcome into the Rock and Refuel Recruiting Roundup. He's Jason Jewell. I'm Jordan Ham. We're going over everything recruiting related in the state of Arizona. And Jason, just one offer to get to this week. Tommy Christakos over at Chaparral picks up another one.
Yeah, 2020 wide receiver slash kicker. When's the last time you've heard of that combination? But the big Chaparral guy got another offer. It comes from Memphis. He's a big athlete. About a few months ago, I compared him to Mark Andrews, a standout now at Oklahoma, formerly from Desert Mountain High School, and I think this is the kind of player that he could turn into. He's a big kid. He's 6'3", he's over 200 pounds, and plays wide receiver now. Maybe he grows into a tight end. And we've also seen his leg. He's good from almost 50 yards as a kicker. So a very good football player and one of the top prospects in that 2020 class.
Now, you were over at Williams Field in Deer Valley on Friday night. I was over at a couple of different games. Who stood out to you in this past week?
So, looking at that game, I went in wanting to really like the trenches, and there were some good football players, obviously, in that game. But the guy that stood out to me as one of the better athletes on the field was Williams Field safety slash wide receiver Noah Polagates, only a junior. We saw that he got his first Division I scholarship offer from the University of Arizona. I was really a big fan of his sophomore varsity film as a safety, and that's what I think he's going to play at the next level. He's a very dangerous player. Williams Field's most explosive player and going to be their go-to guy, replacing Max Fine and Justice Stokes from last year. He's a guy that's going to be a multiple Division I football player.
And I was over at Chandler and IMG. The group that really stood out to me was that Chandler defense. They had to go up against an offensive line that is going to be a bunch of future Power 5 starters. They are over 315 pounds, just some studs, and they were really up for the challenge, limiting IMG to just 27 points. And in part of that also included a blocked punt. So the Chandler defense did a great job, totally up for the challenge. Avery Carrington had an interception. Bryce Jackson really stuck on his guys in the secondary. And then also Chris Manoa and Zach Bowers up in the front seven, really making some noise. So some great performers on both Chandler and Williams Field this past week. But who is our player of the week?
So it's not very often that we go to Gilbert Christian and we see a performance like quarterback Nick Hershey had. I don't know the last time I've seen a quarterback throw for 600 yards, but that's exactly what Hershey did. Threw for 609 yards and 7 touchdown passes in Gilbert Christian's win over Pima.
All right, now we have some good games moving forward this upcoming week. Where are you going to be?
So I'm going to go to Cactus High School and watch Marcos play the Cobras. A game that features two teams that are both undefeated. I know it's early, but both undefeated, both ranked in the top 10 in 4A, and both have legendary coaches in Paul Morrow and Larry Feckenheyer. I'm curious to see what Marcos is going to do. They need to reload, and they need to replace their 3-year starter quarterback Naz Greer, where I think the Cobras returned a ton of guys, led by Mahal Lee at quarterback and Demaria Norris, a running back who rushed for over 2,000 yards last year.
I'll be at the 3A state championship rematch, American Leadership Academy against Sabino. Drew Dixon has now moved on, but Alex Bell at Sabino has been filling up the stat sheet. He saw quite a bit of time at quarterback as well when Drew was playing wide receiver and things like that. But Sabino has putting up some really good numbers, and American Leadership also returning quite a bit of talent. Now we're going to shift gears. So it just came out that the AIA has found a location for their 4A, 5A, and 6A state championships. That was going to be an issue. Sun Devil Stadium wasn't available. University of Phoenix Stadium wasn't available. They're going to be going down to Tucson to play at Arizona Stadium. What are your thoughts on that decision?
Well, I think it's cool that as far as they're in the right mindset of putting the kids in a big-time atmosphere. I don't think it's wise that they move the game down to Tucson. I was at when Chaparral played Sal Point down there, and that game filled up. But the other game, I know it features Saguaro and Desert Edge. There wasn't very many people down there. So you look at, the parents are going to drive down there, but I don't think your casual fan travels down to Tucson to go watch it. And especially if the game is on TV, they're just going to sit on their couch and watch it versus making the trip down. So I understand there's some logistics in the whole thing where it didn't quite work out, but I don't know that the stadium is going to fill up with people going down, traveling from Phoenix down to Tucson.
A lot going on here in the high school season. It's early, but still plenty going on. Keep it right here on the Rock and Refuel Recruiting Roundup on Sports 360 AZ.